All right, let's see what we got. Test, test, test. Hey, Mos, Trooper, Chad, good to see you guys already in the house here. Gonna have some fun with another couple new fun drams, I like to say. Really excited about both of them. And hopefully, I don't know if everyone was able to stay later, but I know I think, recommended this to me a long time ago, and I thought I gotta try that because the only Benromach I had was the peat smoke from I want to say 2006, and it's one of those drams that's kind of I've seen pros and cons from a lot of different people. I found it very pleasing, though. I like the Peat Smoke 2006 from Benromach, and still it was being one of the better ones from distilleries that I tried over the last couple of years. And then with this guy, I was at a bar actually and got lucky that they actually had it. Surprisingly, one drink left though. So it was the very tail end of it, but it was good. And I thought, if I'm going to get a Benromach bottle, I got to get that one because they do have a 15 and I think even an 18 that does rate well. Seems like it'd probably be pretty good. But this has got a little peat in it. And if I have the option to try some distilleries peat, I'm going to take it. Might not always like it. I have run into some peats that I'm not really a big fan of. But 9 times out of 10, I'm going to like it. Good to see you, Whiskey Ace. Thanks for stopping by as well. Just opened a Russell's Pick. Smells like candy apricots. Russell's Pick sounds like either a bourbon or a rye or a non-Scotch. Not familiar with it, but hopefully it's good. You spell your whiskey with an E, so it makes sense actually. Anyway, troopers want me to break out the Glendronach. We will get to that. Not sure if Stephen Connor can make it tonight. Hopefully he can. We'll be looking at a very old, courtesy of him, very generous Glendronach 25-year, distilled in 1992, batch 16, sherry butt. They have to say sherry butt no matter like what, but it's definitely a sherry bomb. Cask 334, 58.5 ABV, and we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to start off, well, they're both kind of powerful. Typically, you don't want to start with a peated and go to something else, but I'll just cleanse the palate and be able to do it no problem. Russell's Reserve. That does sound familiar, actually, being from Kentucky originally. So, yeah, I've heard of it. I just don't know if I've ever tried it or not. I've tried some here and there. I'm not a big corn guy, so that's why I usually don't do the bourbons. But anyway, the Imperial Proof, also known as 100 proof overseas, same juice. Just the funny thing is, and I just kind of learned this actually. Like to me, if you want to find the proof, you just double the ABV. That's the United States way of doing things. I didn't know in UK it actually means 57% for 100 proof. And that's what this is. So the funny thing is, over here, we call it the 10 Imperial Proof. Overseas, 100 proof, but it's 57%. It's so funny how that works. I'll take it either way. It's really good, solid juice. Look at, that color is beautiful. I don't think we're doing any special coloring. Let's see if they talk about it at all on their deal. I'd be surprised for 10 years being cask strengthened with sherry influence that it wouldn't be that color. Doesn't seem like it's out of step, but you never know really this day and age. It does have a nice ABV, does have a 10-year statement on it, so that's a couple big positives. Looks like it was released in November of 2015, and that It doesn't really talk about the specific cask type, but I'm assuming there's got to be both bourbon and sherry. I believe in this. Everyone, are you still around? Probably not able to stop. 'Cause I know he's been having, he was traveling around recently. Good to see you, Ben, and Donner as well. He has the 43% from room at 10. Interesting, still getting into it. Yeah. The I don't think I've ever had a bad Benromach. I've only had a couple though, but it's definitely not a distillery I would be like afraid of trying. There are always those that you hear about that you're kind of like, oh, I'm not quite sure about this one. They're not, Macallan, Dalmore, very well known. But the Benromachs actually are, a lot of people I noticed lately are really giving a boost to Deanston as being like the next best thing. I do like Deanston, but my eye opener was this bottle being that good. Um, it doesn't really say anything about chill filtering or coloring. I don't think they would do it, but you would think if they didn't, they would put it all over their marketing, all over their box, which they don't, surprisingly. They just talk about the distillation process and, couple notes, and they just kind of nothing really out of the ordinary there. But so could be colored, could be chill. I mean, why would you chill filter 57% whiskey though, right? I don't think it would make sense. I haven't had a Benromach in years. That's cool. It's a higher ABV than normal. Yeah, this is a special, rich, intense version of it. And that's why I thought, I could go 15, 18 more refined, but I've tasted it and I knew that it was going to be enjoyable, and I'd really like to look in it, look more closely. I'm pretty sure it's sherry, the Whiskey Ace. I agree with you. It's either sherry influence or it's color, but I think it's a sherry thing. Oh my, getting into the nose. Now, the great thing about this nose is that there's a lot going on. It's very complex, especially for a 10-year. The cask strength, I'm sure, is helping with this. I get a really nice potato chip. It's kind of strange to say. I don't usually get potato chip from whiskeys, but this is got a very prominent potato chip. A really nice baked Martin's kind of kettle potato chip. I get a lot of like spice, cinnamon, nutmeg on the nose. Get a lot of citrus flavors, a lot of oranges. Some red fruit, medium level. Nothing really deep, crazy dark, but like raspberry. Strawberry and some florals. Huh. It's got that campfire, slightly peated nose too. It's there, but it's not like in your face like an Ardbeg, Lafroig, Lagavulin, that kind of thing. It's a little more subtle, but you can tell it's there. I really like the nose on this one. It's not a for as hot as 57%. As hot as it is, it doesn't like you don't really whiff it and be like, oh bam, you can really dig in there deep and not be afraid. Viscosity looks pretty good too. I'm sure the ABV helps that as well. That's why I think it's important for distilleries to try to get their stuff at least to 48%. That's just my preference. 100 proof Pringles, yeah, basically. Mm. Ooh. That stuff doesn't mess around. Very well done palate. It's so subtle on the nose when it comes to the peat smoke, but on the taste, that's when you get it. Ooh, barbecue. Now we've got not just potato chips, now I got barbecue potato chips. Like brisket. Wow. It's like a picnic in a glass on the grill outside. A little charcoal, but not over the top. Just kind of in the back on the finish too. It could use a couple drops though. That's just me. I'm not saying douse it with water. I'm saying get a dropper and literally do just a couple drops. Gonna use my my British pint glass. The American pint glasses are not the same. The British use a little bit more volume in their. I'm just making sure I get a couple drops in here. Literally drops. No spoons, no pours, just a really small, like 4 or 5 drops just to get the molecules flowing a little bit and see if we can get more of a nose and a taste. Yeah, 48% minimum would be fantastic. The only issue with that would be, I could see, is since they charge for shipping, the based off of, you know, ABV being the tax, that could be, you know, the bad part. But I, you know, don't mind paying a little more if it's that much better. And to me, 48 versus 40, I'll take 48 every time. It's very rare. I think Dalmore is the only distillery that can pull off a 40% whiskey. It still make it complex. I know it sounds crazy. They get a lot of beef on the outside, but be honest with you, Dalmore actually can pull off, I think, a 40% solid whiskey and still make it taste like a 48 with a couple drops of water. And I would normally never put, you know, anything on a 40% whiskey, but theirs is different. I'm not sure what makes it different. If anybody knows why, I'd appreciate some intel, recon, whatever, you know, we can get. But Dalmore's juice is just a little different. I mean, I know they do some coloring. I know they do, you know, the chill filtering thing. I don't think that would make it more complex at a low ABV, but there's got to be something. There's got to be some reason why they can pull it off. And a lot of these other guys, you add water to theirs, and it just kind of makes it diluted and doesn't really do much for it. So I don't know. Didn't kill the nose, thankfully. I still got my potato chips. And I forgot to mention before, and I'm still getting it now, is some tobacco type notes. Tea, like a, but a very well brewed tea, not just a typical sweet tea kind of smell, like a really deep, earthy tea. Not maybe as much as a Lapsang Souchong, but you know, enough to make your eyes open up a little wider. I think their E150A mixed with alcohol. Yeah, they do like their E150A, but there's something special about their juice with the 40%. I can't explain it. I've just experienced it. The King Alexander was, I think, the one that really made me think, wow, there's something different about this, because when you try it, when you try it neat, it's like it's good. But until you add a couple of drops of it, let it sit out for a little bit, and then taste it, man, it's pretty damn complex, and it has a lot going on, even for the low ABV. I'm not sure why that is, but that's a whole nother show. I am going to do a Dalmore 18, I think, soon. So that'll hopefully be the next show if I'm lucky enough to find it. I think I can. It's a little pricey, though. Dalmores and Macallans are tougher to review sometimes for me because they're so pricey for their like 15s and up. And I'm trying to get it to at least a 15 if I can, 18 if it's affordable. But you know, if it's 15-ish, then I'll, you know, that's probably what I'll pull a little trigger on to do, like a basic distillery, you know, review. Leathery goodness. They got a little dunnage thing going on here, even though they're not. These guys. This is a space side, and it tastes more like a Campbelltown to me. So if Benromach was, you know, a Campbelltown distillery, I would not be surprised. That's how good it is. Trooper, I think, is right. It's a bit expensive as hell. Yeah, the 15 alone is 120, and it's the same, I think, up here too. Cask selections, Chad's right on that. The cask selections they do at Dalmore, I think, is what maybe sets them a little higher than some of the other distilleries sometimes, and not everyone gets it because they're thrown, off on the color slash chill filtering thing. But I think they're just slow to come around to the market where everyone's kind of already noticing that, if we do non-chill filtered and we don't add color, we put an age, even if it's 10 or 8. I'm cool with an 8-year statement. The Glendronach 8 Highland is a hell of a freaking whiskey. I mean, it's freaking awesome. So you don't have to go that direction. I'd rather get a Benromach. Yeah, I like Benromach too, Ben. They're another favorite space side. The 10 Curiositas. I've had a 17, the Sevendissum, I think is what they call. Never had the Solstice, I don't think. Maybe had a sip of it one time in a tasting. I think I might have actually had a sample of that and liked it. I've never had a bad Benromach either. Glendronach, yeah, of course. We'll get to that in a second. That's a whole other discussion. Glendronachs are excellent. Still getting that really nice spice. More spice on the nose than the palate, surprisingly. Let's see if I get it some cinnamon and nutmeg on the palate this time. Yeah. Good call on that, Chad. I'd love to get a Talisker 8 myself. I've got the 10 and 18 and the Distiller's Edition back in here. I need to get Storm and some other ones too, but Sky. I am a big Talisker fan. I haven't had a bad Talisker yet, really. The only Talisker that really kind of threw me off was the Port Ree. It's spelled R-U-I-G-H-E. It's a travel retail exclusive. It's good on the nose and the palate, but -0 finish at all. That was just my take on it. So I am down with every Talisker I've had except the Port Ree. And that's probably why they made it travel retail exclusive. They figure, well, we can sell a few of these bottles on the side, but it is what it is. I haven't seen the 8. Is that the cask strength version that came out recently, Chad? I'm just curious if that's the same one I'm thinking of. Trooper's having a Distiller's Edition tonight. Yeah, it's damn good. I was lucky enough to find it for 82, I think. What'd you pay, if you don't mind me asking, Trooper? I'm just curious of what your price point was on that, because I thought 82 was a good deal, but I might have overpaid. I think it's got an age statement though. It's got a my bottle of it is sorry about the noise. It's some bubble wrap down here. Move that out of the way. Sorry about that. Mine looks like it's a double matured Amoroso cask wood. There was a date I remember seeing. Maybe it's on the bottle. Yeah, 2002 to 2013. So there you go. It does have an age on it. Yeah, 11 years old. So there you go. Did you remember if you paid more than 82? I'm just curious. American dollars. I think you're also in the U.S. if I remember correctly. I can't remember what state you're from, but yeah. If you're looking for a distillery to try, I would definitely recommend the Benromach. If you like cask strength whiskey like I do, I would definitely recommend the Imperial Proof. Now, still getting some spice on it. Still getting some leather. White pepper too. It's kind of like a Talisker in a way. It's, the only thing it doesn't have that Taliskers have is that more maritime briny stuff. This does not have the maritime briny thing going on. It's got the pepper though, the white pepper, The cinnamon and nutmeg that I talked about. It's got the leathery goodness like a Springbank kind of thing, but not that heavy. It's not heavy. It's not heavy sulfur or anything like that either. It's mostly really good sherry notes with a back-end bourbon cask of some sort. I know they don't talk about what casks they're using with this in specificity. I can't even say the word specificity, if that is even a word, but it's pretty solid. Oh, Louisiana, there you go. Yeah, is it plus 100? Wow. Yeah, I got lucky, I think, on the $82 price. I think I just found it like it wasn't like a normal place that I usually get stuff from. I think I just kind of looked around, saw it in passing. I thought, oh, that's a good price. I'll pick that up, and went that way. Yeah, it's got a really nice, subtle dark chocolate finish as well. It doesn't last that long, though, and I think the age could help that. So if I had a way, I don't want to say knock it, but like if I had the critique on the bottle, I wish the finish was longer. It's not ultra dry, a little dry at first, but it kind of peters out a bit. Got some espresso notes in the end too. Not bitter or bad, just kind of some really nice way to end it there. I'm thinking that that's going to be, I give it a 4. I think it's a deserving of a 4.25 maybe. I really love the nose and the palate. So I think I'll make it a 4.25. I think that's fair. It's slightly better than a 4 out of 5. 0.25 increments. I think that's a fair deal. I like the mouth coat. If it was really thin like a Glendronach, I probably wouldn't score it as high. Flavor is beautiful. I just wish that it stood around with me for a little longer, though. Yeah, Curiositas 10-year is a good one. Repeated whiskey, that's pretty solid. I think this might be a little bit better only because it's got the sherry influence to it. I'm pretty sure. If it doesn't, I'll be really surprised because I definitely taste it. It seems like there's some sort of, I'm looking for any type of, sherry kicks, stewed fruits, beeswax, vanilla pods. Okay. Delicate smoke. Well, it is delicate, but it's definitely easy to get. You don't have to dig too much for it, thankfully. And I think that's what makes this a little bit of, if you're a sherry fan like I am, if you do want more of a pure peaty kind of experience, the Benromach Curiositas is the way to go. And Benromach reminds you of Leche, Chad. Yeah, but this is a lot better than their 10, I think. The Leche 10, I don't think is as good as this because it doesn't have that sherry thing. The Leche 18 that I've got up there with the sherry, what was that? I forgot that was finished in. It was a limited release. I know it has sherry notes to it. I can't remember how much it is as far as how much influence, but it was really good. Really well done. When you're nosing it, some of your notes seem to back that up, Telex. I'm sorry, Whiskey, I'm missing what you're talking about, that one. But yeah. Nice reminder of kind of like a Springbank because of the leathery thing, but not as intense. So if you want kind of an entry to Campbelltown, want a different kind of space side that's not typical, not afraid of a little smoke, there you go. Likely sherry, yeah. Yeah, it definitely has sherry kicks on the side I found on the box. So there you go. It's definitely a sherry. Now, the type is definitely Oloroso. It's definitely not PX. It's not a sweet dram. I mean, there's some, like I said, the citrus notes are there. But, you know, it's definitely more got a savory end, a little drier, and hey, there's everyone. I was just talking about you, man. Yeah, did you get the same? It's funny, everyone, because I was down in Baltimore and I found a bar, and I want to try to remember what the name of this place was. Oh my goodness, I'll have to ask my wife again. Something about the heart. I can't remember. It. We went to Gunther Company, which was down to eat. It's a restaurant in Baltimore. Very well done, very good. If you ever are in Baltimore and want a good place to eat, Gunther Company is pretty darn good, I have to say. So we ate there, and I don't remember having any scotch there. If I did, I probably had something run of the mill. And then we walked around the corner. And I remember it was really cold, and we had to like walk backwards because the wind was in our face. And made it to this bar around the corner from there, and I remember that like it had the name of the heart was in the title of it, and they actually had this sucker right there, and I was like, wow! It was the last pour though, and I tried it, everyone, and it was very good enough to the point where I thought, you know what? If I get a bottle of Benromach for myself, excuse me, and do a review, then that's what I'm going to pick, and that's what I went and got it at Petite Cellars. So there we go, everyone. So I appreciate he gave me the recon on this bottle. Actually, he said that it was one of his favorites, and I'm surprised that you like this, everyone, because this Imperial Proof has got some smoke to it, and I know you're not a big peat fan. I mean, it's not very peaty, but it is very nicely smoked, I would say. Hey, Cato, good to see you, my friend. I appreciate you stopping by, and Richie Z, good to see you as well. You guys already missed a lot of the notes on the Imperial Proof, unfortunately, with the Benromach, but just watch another time, and we'll 4.25 out of 5. Very solid. I would love to see a 15 and even older version of this. I bet it would be spectacular. 4.75 to 5, and it would rock. The only thing I knocked it on, everyone, was I wish the finish was a little longer. It is there. It's got dark chocolate, espresso, really nice, slightly pleasantly bitter notes, as the way I would explain it, because I don't mind a little bitterness on the end, like a really nice, good cup of coffee, I'm sure the smoke's helping with that. But very good pick. I appreciate your recon on that one. Nice little box they give you too. I like the presentation's a little different. They give you one of these boxes that have a little top kind of thing to it. Fits nicely, sturdy, and we will. I'll definitely be enjoying that bottle for quite a while, if it lasts. All right. Sadly, I don't think Steven's with us tonight, but we're going to look at. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. I know it's tough to be up this late, but I got to work tomorrow. I got to telework at least, but I do have to work tomorrow too, so I know how it goes. Very well done for a 10-year-old. The 57% really helps out a ton. I know on this. In this offering. So if it was 15 or 18, kept the same ABV, even if it was down to 50, I would be all in to try it. I would love to try something like that. Hopefully they'll have something like that down the road a little bit for us if they are still playing around with that juice. All right, so let's have a sip. Don Holland, good to see you too, my friend. Very malty, a bit of funk, peat. Love it. Yeah, I agree. It's that's a solid offering. I don't see how anyone could not be happy with a whiskey like that. It's kind of funny how they kind of write it out. Their marketing is kind of funny because they just kind of just like draw it on there like someone just took a Sharpie, like a white one, and just kind of like wrote out some stuff. All right, Jason, I have a Benromach Sisek wood finish bottle. It's so good. That sounds good. Sisek. I don't think I've heard of that one. Let me see something before we move on to the next one real fast. So I'm going to do a quick search. Benromach Sisek. Hopefully I don't butcher this. Okay, we got a Sisek wood finish. Sisek wood finish 2009, 2010. Ooh. The last Sisek I can find, Richie, is from 2010. Do you think that was the one that you had? Limited bottling, yielding 7,789 bottles globally. The Sisek, Chateau Sisek was a winery located in Haute-Medoc region of Bordeaux. First filled bourbon barrels after a distillation in 2010. Finished in maturation of Chateau Sisek wine for over 2 years. That sounds good. 45% NAS, but they tell you it's over 2 years and just the finish. So it's probably don't slap a year on it. It's probably at least 7 years, I would imagine. $85. That sounds really good. Yeah, not pricey at all. Seems to rate pretty well. Let's see. Not very well known. It's kind of one of those. It looks like that's sadly overlooked. But it does have a decent review that I see on it. Yeah, 9. 9. You mean 9 out of 10? When you say it's 9 or 90? Can't find anymore. Yeah. Oh, 2009 is what you meant. Oh, okay. Yeah, they did it in 2010 as well, and I think it might have been the last year that they did it. Let me see something. Yeah, they had a Sisek wood in 2009 and in 2010, and I think they stopped at that point. Yeah, it rates about a 4 out of 5, it looks like, typically. That one is first single malt matured, first fill bourbon barrels and finished in first fill French wine casks. 25 months at least in those casks, 40 bottled at 45%, and 4,200 bottles available for that first year, 2009. Yeah, you're not going to be able to find that anymore, man. That's like a special Bordeaux wine cask finish of a freaking Benromach. You're lucky you got your hands on that one, man. I can imagine. That might be worth like one of those auction pulls if you ever see it on an auction. It's not like an astronomically high price. Anyway, let's go back and talk about Mr. Stephen Connor. I really appreciated Kowtow. Big time for the Glendronach 25 years. Still 1992. Let me think. I graduated high school in 94. So 92, man. Wow, I would have been a sophomore. That is so crazy to think of it that way. Batch 16, cask 334. Now, last time, and if you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend you go back and watch it. I did a Glendronach 25 year. It was 1993, I believe it was, for the whiskey barrel. Sherry butt as well, though, and that specific cask, 680 something. I can't remember the exact number, but very, 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 very well done. It was excellent. So this one, I am definitely looking for something similar, but I've been told that it's not the same stuff. It's completely different. Now the good news is the color on this is just as cola as the last week's that we did. Look at that color. Oh my goodness gracious. That is insanely dark. It's like drinking Coca-Cola, literally, from the Glencairn. Visually wise, taste wise is a lot better. Well, no offense to Coke, because I'm a huge Coke fan, so you know what I mean, though. If it's, Coke's on one thing, whiskey is a whole other animal, so you know how it goes. Nice nose. I gotta get me a hat for this one. Give me 1 second, guys. Gotta get some coins out here. I'm sure you guys know about all the guys, the whiskey tubers that have their whiskey coins. I haven't done one yet. Thought about doing it. A lot of overhead and time to get it done. Maybe someday. But I will tout the two different people that I've personally gotten coins from. Scotch for Dummies. I got my cask. My next cask is coming. The two. My first ones are here. I got my number 15 for all four of them. So we'll slap a little burnt toast on there. And also Scotch test dummies have some really nice coins. I've got the first three. And I was lucky enough to be on their first boom deal and got a signed one somewhere else, because I try to keep it not messed with so the signatures don't get worn off. But yep, got a cask. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I really have 4 of these? Jesus. Well, there you go. But they're all pretty cool. They all have their own, little insignias, and those numbers I didn't keep. Well, I guess I did keep them all the same. 245 on that one. Huh. Lucky with that. Everyone's got their coins nowadays, so it's hard to keep track of all of them, it seems like. Looks sherry exclusive. Yeah, this is sherry exclusive. Sherry butt, pretty much. I don't know. I mean, they might have moved it around, but nice. Definitely, the sherry is a prominent thing, of course, on the nose, but this has got some deeper red fruits. Like we were talking about strawberries and raspberries in that first guy. This one is more of like a black cherry, currant compote, like a raspberry compote, something deeper. Got a little chocolate on the nose, a little mocha. Oh, raisins and figs. All the berries you could possibly think of, man. I just got blueberry and blackberries and raspberries on the last nose. It's crazy. Jesus. I mean, every time I go back, I can get something else on this Glendronach. It's just so insanely good. Whiskey like this is almost just makes me speechless, because it's so over the toply fantastic that it's hard to pick, put anything on it. I remember talking about the other one last week and trying to find a fault, and I mean, once you get to 25 years and it's a cask, single first fill cask, and it's got a number, and I mean, how do you even go there? Yeah, I should use the coin. I'm kind of like, I get to, I'm kind of feely with it. But I already talked about the batch 16 on the single cask. It was bottled in 2017. Finished specifically June the 26th of 1992. Wow. Just getting out of high school as a sophomore. That is nuts. Cask 334, 592 bottles. 592 bottles is not very much, 58.5%. And right now valued at about 400 pounds. That's crazy. Crazy. I'll show you. Let me show your post there, Whiskey Ace, with the the metals and the berries. Oh man, you get some tobacco stuff on this one too, a little bit. Don't get any leather though. So just too refined and too proper for that. It seems like. I just can't get over how deep those fruits go. It's got a little sweetness to it, the nose too. Get a little sugar, powdered sugar. Huh. So good. 84. Okay, you got me by 10 years. I'm a class of 94. That's cool though. I'm an early Scotch guy probably compared to most because it seems like by the time you can afford to buy any Scotch, you have to be like in your at least your 40s, if not your 50s or 60s. So that's usually how it works, unless you're a lawyer or diplomat or something. Ah, it's lush, man. It's so. The only thing I can compare it to in quality that I've had is like a Macallan Fine Oak 21, a Bruichladdich Black Arts 4, another 23-year-old whiskey. It's 25, got to get by a couple of years. It's that caliber. It really, truly is. Don't get any mushroom or fungal type notes like sometimes I do in old whiskey. Uh, but you do get a little atticness going on, antique kind of smell, which is what you expect to have in a 25. The fruits are so powerful though, and I think the hotness is there on the nose on this one more so than the last one. Mm. I remember the last one being very, very savory and noting that it had Oloroso sherry. This one's a little different. This one has got a little more sweetness to it, and I'm wondering now when they say sherry bet because if they don't know for sure, and going back to this year, unfortunately, there are not very well kept records I've heard, so they just put sherry bet on there. But I do know that sometimes they can play with the sherry casks as far as like the way they do it, even though it's one cask, it's like they can move it. So I'm wondering if this has got PX because it's sweeter to me. Mm. It's a bit sweeter than the other one. And I think I actually might like it even more because this one's got a grape jam kind of thing going on. Mm. The fruits are so heavy, but that sweetness is there, and I love a good sweet dram sometimes, especially if it's a fruit like La Santa. That kind. This is on its own another plane. I'm not comparing it to a Glenmorangie La Santa by any means, but the taste intensity is got. What I love about this particular dram, to me, and I know the other one rates higher for some reason, but this 334 to me is good, good, good because it has the intensity and brightness and vibrance of a young whiskey, even though it's old. I'm not sure if that's because of a PX type of influence here. Um, that's the tough part. Hey, Bobby, good to see you. You're early, Tails. Glad I found it. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Class of 87 for Chad. So he's in between Richie and I. Class of 83. No, you're not old as dirt. You're only 1 year older than Richie. Or 1 year from school at least. I didn't start school till I was 6, so that might make a difference too. My birthday's in October, so I had to wait. Whiskey Ace, yes, but I drink enough. I'll include non-seasonal drams. What's your favorite whiskey going into April, Richie? Are you asking me? My favorite whiskey going into April. Recently, oh man. I mean, apart from the specialties, and I definitely consider a Glendronach 25. For me, it's not a purchase that I can make. I can't, afford it. I was just lucky enough to have a taste of it. I mean, that's kind of a given that that's going to be one of my favorite whiskeys of all time. I love Glendronach on its own. Not even talking about tasting a 25, and now that I've tasted it, it's like, oh my God. I mean, if I could afford this stuff, I'd drink it every day. But that's another story. Anyway, favorite this month that I've kind of run into, I'd say my clock was still wrong in my bedroom for daylight savings. Oh, okay. Sorry, man. Yeah, we might run this a little longer. Let's see. You'll have to rewind and watch the Benromach Imperial Proof part, though. I'll tell you what, Richie, the surprise pick that I made, Edgedour is the distillery. Bellican is the type. It's their peated version. Let me go get the bottle thing. 1 second. Be right back, guys. Sorry about the delay. I just have to go and pull this for Richie. This was really good. Now, it might not be easy to find, unfortunately, but I don't think it would be crazy to find. It was like, if I remember correctly, like 150. It's this guy. Balkan, heavily peated. It's a Highland, but it tastes like an Isla. It's very, very good. Sherry, Oloroso Sherry number 4, cask matured, unchill filtered. Tastes fairly, I'd say at least a 7-year. It's 46% ABV. Not 48, but it's pretty damn close. This was the 700 ml version, so it must have been imported. This is the choice I made when I was looking for an Edgedour for my collection. This is the one I went with, and I was very happy with it. Very underrated. It is solid. I was pleasantly surprised, and if you found a Madeira cask, I would love to get my hands on this with the Madeira. I definitely got to try that as well. So there you go. Let me put this down over here. But yeah, that's Edgedour's got some good stuff out there. I do prefer their peated stuff though to their regular, but that's just me. But I'm the same way with a lot of the other stuff, with the exception of Bunnahabhain. With Bunnahabhain stuff, I prefer their unpeated stuff to their peated stuff typically. I never was a big fan of the Choichik or the Kjabenach, I love the 12, the 18, the Erin Aglain, and the Krukvona. Those are solid. And the Krukvona is the only one I think that was actually peated that I really, really liked. That tells you something right there. Anyway. Oh, wow. I can't believe how intense this nose is. It's just insane. So sweeter than the other one. Jason, have you tried the Kubokin? I haven't yet. I have not. The Tomatins that I've had, which I do like the distillery. I'm not really a big, huge, colossal fan. I did try like a single cask 12. It was okay. I've had some other stuff. I think that my favorite is the Decades, which you can't really find, unfortunately, anymore. But it had a lot of really old juice, and going down from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s to 2000s, and it had like 5 different like casks influences, and it was just solid, great juice. Um, yeah, Tomatin does make it. I know they love that one. I've never tried it. I have seen it. I know a place where I can still get it in Maryland. But since I've already had the decades and I'm collecting other distilleries, I haven't had a reason to go back to Tomatin. But if I did, if I was going to sit down and buy a dram today, I would definitely consider the Kuboken if it was, available. It's not something you usually see. There's several versions of the Kuboken I've seen. There's a black one, there's a purple one, I think there's a gold one. There's like three, I think, different ones. Um, I think the dummies one they like a lot is gold, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember which color it was, but I have seen a couple, at least if not three different versions out there. Any of them I would try though. Chad liked the decades too. Yeah, I actually sent a sample to these Scotch test dummies. I don't know if they ever. Scott said he tried to review it, and there was an issue where I think he ran into something. I'm not sure if he ever got a proper review on it. Um, if he didn't, it's a shame because you'll never probably see that again. I got lucky. I found that for like 110 bucks at a local place that it was dusty and it's been sitting there since like 2015. I picked it up in like 2018, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I saw it," and that ordered for them, and he's like, "Yeah, I saw it," and I thought, well, surely I could sell this and do well with it. And I guess it took a while, but I was like, I was a big fan. It has a lot of good herbal and bourbon and sherry notes. I mean, it had a lot of different things going on with it. Whiskey says he's only seen it in Kentucky, and they also have the 14 port. Oh, you're talking about the Kuboken there, probably. Huh, 14 port. Port whiskeys are tough, man. I rarely. I'm trying to find a port that I've really liked other than Lefroy. The Portwood Carriages from 2013 is excellent. The Brodeer is excellent, but I can't think of a port whiskey that is well done. If you know of one, put it in the comments or the chat. I'm just curious if you've had a port influenced whiskey that was any good. I've tried Glendronachs. I didn't really like the finish that much. It took 45 minutes to open up, way too long. The Kilchoman port just didn't get into it. That's the only Kilchoman I really didn't like. Give at least a 4.5 out of 5. I mean, all these are definitely solid, which are there's 6 bottles sitting there, but the port one I have to try that again or something. I don't know. Just didn't really get into that. Richie thinks the 14 is actually pretty good. 1792 Portwood Bourbon was pretty good. Yeah, that one. I'm familiar with 1792, but not a Portwood. Are they all port, or are they? Is that as because I'm not a big bourbon guy, but my stepdad is. He mentioned the 1792 as being one of his go-tos. But I'm not sure if it was port or if they're all port, or if that's just like a specialized version of that. Let me know, Whiskey Ace, if you get a chance. Anyway, let's go back and have a hard to fault this one, guys. I mean, color, wow. Age, wow. ABV, 58.5, wow. I mean, come on. Finished for 2 years in port. Okay. Bobby says, I'm really a classic Isla guy, though. I may need to give him a second chance. Which ones, Bobby, are you talking about giving a second chance to? I'm curious. Yeah, I'm mostly an Isla guy, as you can tell from the backdrop here. I only Campbelltown, but I give love to Speyside. Like, well done peated versions of Speysides, I think, are definitely worth an extra look. Oh, yeah, port finishes, yeah. I can't find, I mean, other than Lefroy, the Springbank 19 Portwood was pretty good. I have to give him credit. So I take that back. I think the Springbank 19 Port cask I've got up there, hard to find, 300 bottles or so. But if you get a chance, definitely pick that one up. It is a little pricey, though. We're approaching $300 for that one. Man. It's sad because last week, I gave that other first Glendronach 25 from 1993. I gave it, I think, a 5 out of 5 because I was just felt bad for finding a fault. But to be honest with you, I think I might go back and give that one a 4.75 and give this one the 5 out of 5 because I think the extra little bit of sweetness in this one makes it, for my own subjective palate, a little bit better. If you're more of an Oloroso fan and you like a little more savoriness with your sherry, you're going to enjoy that other cask better, the 658. 658 is where you should go for that guy if you're looking for, more savory sherry notes. If you're like me and you like a little more sweeter PX type sherry, this 334, man, I would pick that. Is the 21 available there? Yes. Now, I'll caveat this, Richie, with our Glendronach prices are absolutely fucking insane. They are overblown. I don't understand why. It's really sad because I see literally, if I go online and if I, not that I'm going to, but I could try to order something from like England or something. I could get it for like a quarter, 3/4 of the price. It's I'll give you the prices for. I mean, this is like no joke, and this is a place that has cheaper prices for most distilleries. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they mark up their Glendronach because they sell a boatload of it. I don't think so though. I think it's just a Maryland thing because I don't think I've ever seen Glendronach cheaply priced. Here's some prices for you though, just to give you an idea of what Maryland's like for Glendronach. Our 12-year is 66.99. That's $66.99. Our 15 revival is $99.99. Our 18 is $189.99. Our 21 is $239.97. Our 24 is $650. Our 24 Grandeur is $699.99. Our 27 is $999.99. Our Kingsman 25 is $869.99. Our peated is $64.99. So that's all the Glendronachs that I can get locally. Now the $189.99 for the 18 and the $239.97 for the 21 is a little high because I've seen it for the 18 as low as like I want to say like 30 to 50, and the 21 as low as like 190, 180 something. So if that's the case, then I'm not going to get it from here. I mean, that's just crazy talk. So as sad as that is, but I don't know. Maybe it's just, I think it's just a market. Like here, Old Pulteney is very cheap because Old Pulteney does not sell very well in Maryland. So it all depends on the state, really. A lot of the stuff. It's just the way it is. Steven, I can't get over how good this is, man. I'm going to sip this all night, as you can tell. I'm nursing it, but there's a reason for it. I mean, I don't see how you cannot appreciate a dram like that. It's beautiful. He says he kind of prefers island matured and ex-bourbon, but in reality, I'm not sure if I've had enough from the other maturations mixes to make an opinion. Yeah, whiskey ace. That part's subjective, but yet for me, after having some matured and exclusively ex-bourbon, I find it a little too one-dimensional for me. It's not an Isla, but like a Springbank Local Barley is a good example. It's a damn good whiskey. It's probably the best like of that version the ex bourbon slash non sherry influence. The Choi Chick from Bunahov is like that. The Lagavulin 8 is kind of just straightforward peat. I gotta have a little bit of a sherry influence in mind for it to be better, like the Ardbeg Ugadal, Quarry Dark Cove, that kind of thing. For Lafroig, the PX cask, even the QA cask, I thought was better. Just straightforward, one note. But I'm a huge fan of all the carriages like the Madeira, the Amontillado, the Fino. So I definitely think the more casks that you get into, I think you'll enjoy it more. I mean, I'm not knocking the local barley for what it is. Excuse me, it's great, but I think that the issue is that it's like a really good taste, but it's just the bourbon. Unless you have the local barley, like my version, thankfully has a little bit of sherry in it. Some of them do, some of them don't. And they're both, and some tins, like there's one tin that does and one tin that doesn't. You have to know which version you have to know if there's any sherry influence to it. Ugadal and 16 are my only parlay into sherry Isla. Wow, okay. Richie, I'm sorry, Whiskey Ace. I would definitely recommend any Ardbeg NAS that you can get affordable, be affordable about it. I know it's tough to get some of these older ones, like the Ardbog or the Verdes, the Dark Cove, the Kelpie, the Grooves. The new drum is kind of I'm not sure. I'm not a huge fan like I was the Grooves and the Kelpie and the Dark Cove and the Verdes and the Ardbog, et cetera, but you know, I definitely would try some of those. Also, the carriages of Lafroig, the PX cast, Q8 cast, the Anklemore, the Lore, Lafroig Lore. You can't go wrong with that, man. Um, I'd say that would be your safest bet. Kilhoman's got some great influence on the Seneg, the red wine cast, the Sauternes. I thought was excellent. So I would definitely go there. Whiskey Ace says the Grooves is good, but felt like the sherry influence is subtle. Yeah, no, it's not a. It's definitely not a sherry type of dram to me. I like the Grooves because it was more like a charred Caribbean, Balvenie Caribbean Cask 14 with a lot more smoke and heaviness to it. That's why I love the grooves. I thought the groove should have been the drum. The drum to me was like a very extreme light version of what the grooves. The grooves has got all the fruits and the flavor and the char and what I'm looking for in a Ardbeg whiskey, and the drum was like a very mild version of it to me. I just didn't get it, but. Richie Z says, Jason, I'm not a peahead, but I love Ardbeg. Should I get the Oogie or Quarry next? Richie, you should get the Ugadal next. Now, here's the reason why. The Ugadal is a very well done, sherry influenced Isla peated whiskey. Period. Ardbeg's best whiskey, probably that they've ever made, I think might be the Ugadal. That's how good it is. Now, the Quarry of Reckon's no joke either. The Quarry of Reckon, though, is if you're also a huge fan of Talisker. The reason I say that is because the pepper. Quarry of Reckon is very peppery and very hot as far as not alcohol hot, but peppery hot, caliente, that kind of thing. It's got the spice and it's got the pepper. But if you're looking for more of a straightforward sherry bomb, nicely blend Isla peated Scotch, Ardbeg Uigeadail is the perfect choice. The Corryvreckan is a little more expensive, but it also has a little more spice, a little more pepper with that sherry and the typical Ardbeg goodness that you're looking for. I hope it makes sense to you. If the Corryvreckan is more complex. It's just got a lot more going on with the spice and the heat, so you got to be ready for it. I do love both. The NO is no joke too, but you have to be in the mood for a sweet mint type of dram with a lot of good white ashtray, chalky kind of notes. That's what the NO is kind of like. I liked it. A lot of people are kind of mixed, but I prefer it over a lot of other whiskeys that I've had. So there you go there. Oh, man. I can't get over how good, well done this is. Hopefully someday I can get my own bottle of that Glendronach single cask. I know where I can get it. It's just the price is the problem. I haven't even put any water on this, believe it or not. So let's put a couple drops. As blasphemy as a lot of you guys think it is worth. I mean, it's 59% for God's 58.5 for God's sakes. It can handle a couple of drops. Trust me. It's not like a big deal. It's not going to hurt it one bit. Simmer for a little bit. Yeah, Iggy and Corey are solid core offerings, I have to say. They had the 4 that we just talked about. I would love to see Ardbeg have a more, years, like an 8-year stamp. At 10, they already have. I'd love to see a 12-year and a 15-year. I don't understand why Laphroaig and Ardbeg do not offer still a 12 and a 15. It does not make any fucking sense to me. I hope to God that they can figure out a way to do a 12 and a 15. I'd be all over it if Ardbeg and Laphroaig had a 12 and 15. If Lagavulin can have an 12 and 16, why can't these guys? It makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Thanks a lot, Bobby. I appreciate you sticking around for me. I know it's getting late. But, I mean, hell. Lagavulin's got 8, 12, 16, and an 18 if you count Fishkill. So, there you go. Glen Scotia does a 15. Kilkerran's got a 12. They might have a 15 or 17 soon. You never know. Kilhoman, I'm sure, would love to release one when they get, been around long enough to do so. But, I mean, there's no excuse for Ardbeg and Laphroaig not to be able to release, I think, a 12 and a 15. Bunnahabhain's got a 12 and 18. Springbank's got 12 and 15. I mean, come on. Get with the program. I love Ardbeg and Laphroaig. I'm not giving them a hard time. I'm just wanting more choices. That's all. Whiskey Ace says Liquid Experience on Haight Street in San Francisco has Cream of Kentucky for about $150. That's right, for like $165. Cream of Kentucky. What distillery is that from? And is it worth the price? I'm just curious. Wow. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Yeah, Stephen, we're going to have to do some more trading, man. You'll have to let me know what you think of that Enoch 24. That's the one that I sent for him. Not in the same ballpark as far as price, unfortunately, but hopefully a dram that you can appreciate and find a lot of different notes in, as I did. I really like that dram a lot. Very well rated with not just me, but other reviewers. So hopefully you found that to be in your wheelhouse. So we'll see. I'm just curious of that whiskey ace, if you can tell me on that deal. But yeah, I'm not sure what we're gonna do next time. I'm thinking that if I can, I'd love to pick up the Dalmore 18. What to do with it? I might do. I had a sample. I just realized over here for. It's been around for quite a while. Wow, sad I have never opened this guy. From my friend Paul, generously Paul, we'll call him. It's a Talisker 57 degrees north. Travel retail exclusive. And but most likely natural color and non-chill filtered. We're not quite sure. But 57% ABV. Wow, that's no joke. 57 degrees north, Talisker, that's where they're located. And we might do this one with, I'm thinking, a Dalmore 18 if I can pull it off. That's my plan, if I can pull it off before next week. I think I can. Most says, so how do the Danish get a Lafroig 11 travel exclusive? I have heard of the Lafroig 11. Now, there's an older version, most, that's been around for quite a while. I did not know there was a new one that was an exclusive for the, looks like the Danes. Huh. Let me look it up real fast, see if they have a listing on it. Lafroig 11 of all things. It looks like the only one that I'm seeing is an older version that was a travel retail exclusive from Amsterdam Airport, Schiphol, I think, Schipol for people that speak. See, Amsterdam would be the Netherlands, which would be Dutch. This Lafroig 11-year-old single malt was triple matured in ex-bourbon barrels, quarter casks, and ex-Oloroso sherry casks. But this is a 48% version that came out a while back. Let's see if I can find out when this came out. I have a feeling that this is, let's see, no, that's older. That's the classic bottling. I'm thinking this is very, I won't say very old, but older than a few years. I think it's like 5 or 6 years old at least, if not older than that. I don't know if it's the same version that you're talking about there, Mose, unfortunately. But there is a travel retail exclusive for Amsterdam, I see, but not the Danes. So that I'm not quite sure of. Whiskey Aces, I've never had it. It's a new bottling that has some hype behind it. Magic Drum seem to like it a lot. Oh, okay, the Cream of Kentucky. Interesting, okay. Jason, you should open it, taste it. What? Open up what and taste what? I'm curious. Which one are you talking about there, Richie? Healthy Spirits SF also has. When you say Jason, I wonder if you're talking to me, because my name actually is Jason. But I go by Telex because there's so many Jasons that are in whiskey. But I'm not sure what you're talking about opening and tasting. Which one? Healthy Spirits SF also has a few bottles, music collection there. Okay. Valencia Street location, San Francisco. Sadly, I've only been to San Francisco one time. It was a fun trip for work. Got to stay for a couple days, and I work in IT, so I was like trading out some Cisco equipment. It's networking equipment for the site that I was working at, but got to spend a little time there. Went to a place that was close to where the Giants play, which is kind of cool. I'm a baseball fan, so they were actually doing well that year that I was out there. It must have been like, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago at least, if not longer. And they were in the playoffs, I remember. And it was really, really like a lot of hype going on. They have really good restaurants out there in San Francisco, so if you get a chance to go, it is worth the trip. Nice people too. Wasn't like wasn't a pain or anything like that to deal with, people out and about. So That was pretty cool. And coming from the East Coast, we're a little different than Californians. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, the nose never dies in this, guys. It's solid. It's solid. It lives. It's you know, I mean, what is? I gotta look up 400 pounds. I mean, that's got to be like what is $500-$600? 400 pounds. 525. That is a little steep, man. $525 for a bottle. That is crazy. I don't know if I'll ever go that way. Hey, Elite G, good to see you, man. I'm teleworking tomorrow. I'm up a little late, but I'll make it. I don't have to like start till 8, so I'm okay. I'm up a little later than, well, not so. I mean, last week I stayed up till 4 in the morning. If you watched the show, you must have left early because last show, dude, was 3.5 hours long. It was crazy. Absolutely nuts, man. Uh, I wish you were here, Lee. I'd give you a sample pour of this. Well, it'd be small, but Glendronach 25, 1992 Sherry Butt, batch 16, cask 334, 58.5%, man. Even if you're an island boy like me, it is incredible. Just got off of work, and there's this noon today. Jeez, man, that's killer. You must work second shift, I guess. It's an interesting time. It's pretty crazy. I've worked third shift and first shift. I don't know. I guess I did work second shift when I worked at AOL back in the 90s. So yeah, I guess I can count that. It's been a long time since I've been able to work second shift, though. I will say that, but I wish I could work second shift now. I'll tell you that. Look at that color, Lee. Isn't that insane? Isn't that just absolutely crazy? That is no joke, man. 1992, I was a sophomore in high school. Mm. Lots of overtime since Christmas time, yeah. I'll tell you what, Lee, if you can get your butt up here to Maryland, I've got a Lafroig 18. I've got a Lagavulin 18 Fischel. Got some stuff that we haven't even looked at yet. Got to do a review on some of this stuff, man. Got to get up here. Just saying. We'll have to sort something out. It's not that far. You're like 3 or 4 hours. I know. That's about it. Come on. Get with the program. You might have to bring a bottle or two with you, too, if you don't mind. just for fun. Holland Park Thor would be really cool. I know you're like, you got to be out of your mind. Odin, there we go. Odin, that's the one I was thinking of. One of those not Greek, Viking gods. Bring one of those, guys out. Any new Cahomans coming out? Ooh. Less than 2.5 hours. There you go, man. Got to sort something out. I've been holding whiskey for you. I'm not going to open it up unless someone's around that's going to appreciate it, especially if it's an 18-year-old Lafroig and a Lagavulin. Come on, man. It's like sacrilegious to just open up and drink that yourself. Yeah, you need to open up that HP Dark and Light, man. That's awesome stuff. I love both of them, and I think that I like the dark better, but I do appreciate the light very, 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 very much. Like, I mean, the dark is like here, and the light is like right underneath of it. They're both excellent Holland Parks. Whiskey Ace says we should do a live show where we get you drinking some bourbons. Oh, man. The problem is I'm just not educated enough with bourbons to do any justice. I mean, I know Willet's decent, Blanton's and Elmer T, and I mean, I know some of the brands, but as far as like the nuances of bourbon, and I'm just not a corn guy. I love rye. I love Scotch because of the malted barley. I never liked the dark. The I never liked the corn whiskey in bourbon. Unfortunately, it's just not my thing. Is there a Hera? I don't think so. No, there is a an Odin and a Thor though. Rye for the win is right. Lee says we had the dark at the Whiskey Fest. Really liked it. Yeah, I was there with you, man. That was fantastic. I had it again at a DC, a different Whiskey Fest than that one that we went to. There was another one that Tosh invited me to. It was whiskey something or other, and they had the dark again and the light, and I was like, yeah, this is consistently good. So the dark is definitely a bottle I would love to have for my own deal, but 300 plus, man. Whew. And by now it's probably more than that because they probably already sold out of everything. I never pulled the trigger on that one. I don't have the funds just to go get crazy stuff, but yeah, the Odin, Thor, Loki, and Freya. Man, he's got them memorized. That's an HP fan for you. I remember the Odin and the Thor, but I forgot about the Loki and the Freya. But as soon as you said it, I knew what you were talking about. Kehoka Kartbata. Uh-oh. We've got, I think Siddhartha is a form of, what is that? Oh, that's Hindi. Maybe Hindi, Veda. Not Buddhism, but Hindi stuff going on there. I do not speak it though, so I don't know what you're saying, but I hope you're having fun. Siddhartha, good to see you. If you speak English, that would help a little bit, please. Richie says, "Do you own a Magnus? And it is really worth buying. It's cheap." Yes, I do. It's back there. Oh, let me move my chair. That bottle there is the Magnus. It's $30 to $35 US. It's very well worth it. It is a great alternative to like Johnny Walker Black or another like Speyburn 12 or like a run of the mill like whiskey that you've been enjoying and you like. It's your every other day dram or whatever you want to call it, but you want something a little different. It's definitely worth looking at the Magnus from Highland Park. I think for the price point, it's so low. It's like the only bad thing is you don't get a can or a box for it. That kind of pissed me off. But what are you gonna do, right? You can only do so much with the marketing, I guess, for 30 to 35 bucks. But I think it's worth a little stab. I mean, as long as you do go in and know what to expect. If you are cool with Johnny Walker Black, like that level of nose, palate, finish. Same thing with like Glenlivet 12 or like a not. I mean, it's definitely got a little more very slight smoke to it. But you know what I'm talking about. It's definitely on par with a $30 to $35 bottle by all accounts. No questions asked. No problem. That's what I'm here for, man. Is to give an honest view of it. Now, if you said, is the full volume worth 80 to 90 bucks? It depends on what you like. The Holland Park full volume is a good bottle, but it's for people that like that Springbank Bourbon Wood 14 or the local barley. It's pure bourbon influence. That's it. You're not going to get sherry notes from it. You're not going to get any other, especially cask influences from it. But if you want a solid whiskey that's got bourbon influence to it, the full volume is a nice bottle. So, there you go. That's how I kind of look at it. I can notice this all night, and I think I might actually. The way this is going, I'm definitely giving its just due. Still got the sweetness and the berries out the yin yang. Wow. There's no entry level in that beast, man. That cherry bomb is like, no playing around. Definitely put you on your toes, I tell you. Well, we're gonna sign off, guys. It's 12:30. Do have to work tomorrow from home, unfortunately, but it is what it is. And it's been fun as always. The Benromach Imperial Proof. Get yourself a bottle. It is worth it. I've had this all the way down to this level of the bottle. It's not my first rodeo here. It's very well done. 4.25 out of 5. This is a solid 5 out of 5. You know, if you can get your hands, if you can afford a Glendronach 25-year cask anything, I would, definitely shoot for it. Dark Origins, yeah. Now, with Dark Origins, the only thing I'm not a fan of with the Dark Origins, even though supposedly it's 17 years old, I think it's bullshit because I not only didn't get that in the taste and the experience of it, I like it to an extent, but it's not one of my favorite whiskeys. I think the sherry influence is there. It's very hardcore, but it doesn't have a it's not refined enough. It's not well manicured. It's kind of like having a nice big bush to look at, but needs a lot of pruning and a lot of work to it. I think the Dark Origins was a good idea. Is it worth over the $80-$90 mark? I would not go over $100. I just wouldn't go there. If you could find a bottle under $100, and if you are a Holland Park fan, pull the trigger. If you're not already a big Holland Park fan, and if the bottle is over $100, do not pull the trigger. I think that's advice worth noting on that one. But if you're looking for a sherry bomb, and with Holland Park, you got to pay to play. That's just the way they are. Go for the 18. Go for the 17 dark. Go for at least for the 18 you can get for like 130 or up. That's worth it. I think it's a good price for it. I think the 15 goes for like 110 right now. It's not a bad price point compared to like Macallan, Dalmore kind of stuff. So there you go. If you got the cash, 300-ish, the dark, the light is worth a trigger pull. The dark, especially for the sherry. Decent 12. I have had the 10PX, the 20 Oloroso, and the 18. I have not personally had the 12 yet. The 10PX is my favorite of between the 18 and even the 20. I know it sounds crazy, but the reason I like the 10 a lot is because it has that nice sweet factor to it. Now, age and refinement, 18 versus the 20. I'll go with the 20. The P, is that a PX2? No, that's a sherry Oloroso probably. That one, I would go first the 10PX, then I would go with the 20, and then I would go with the 18 for my personal palate. If you do like a more straightforward bourbon type of influence, go for the 18, no questions asked. It's more like the Springbank 14 Bourbon Wood or the local barley, that kind of thing. But the 10PX is one of my favorites, and the 20 Oloroso, I think it was Oloroso, that was a second favorite, I'd say. Well done. They're all three are good, but that's the way I would probably rate them. All right, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you guys next week as well. We're going to try to get a Dalmore if we can. Put it in the ringer like we do everything else, be fair, and also maybe even take a look at that Talisker 57 North. I'm looking forward to that. It's been a while. I think I've tasted that one maybe a long time ago. Sláinte mhath.